A second NBA legend seems to be getting involved with Bubba Wallace, and the Superstar Racing Experience shows their race car making laps for the first time. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric and welcome to a Monday edition of Out of the Groove. I hope your week is off to a great start. If you missed my episode last night, my race review talking about the Phoenix NASCAR Cup Series race, go check that out. We talked all about the winner of that race, some of the top finishers and some of the poor finishers and how they got to that point. We had a lot to say about that one, so go check that video out if you missed it. Today, however, we are talking Bubba Wallace and SHAQ. We'll get to that in a minute. We're also talking SRX, but before we get to all that great stuff, I want to talk about Austin Cindric, because breaking news this morning, Austin Cindric and Team Penske announced that he will be making his second career Cup Series start this weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the 33 car. Very, very exciting. Of course, the defending Xfinity Series champion, the clear frontrunner to win this year's Xfinity Championship, who we already know is going to go Cup racing full-time in 2022 with the Wood Brothers, going to get some more Cup Series track time. That's really awesome. This will be with, of course, the high downforce rules package at an intermediate track. His first start this season was at Daytona for the Daytona 500, where he actually finished 15th and might have nabbed a top 10, except he was caught up in that last lap crash. Very excited to see how Austin Cindric does this year in a Penske car, basically the fourth Penske car in this case. I'm still waiting for Penske to enter him in some of the road courses later this year, because I truly believe he could win a road course Cup Series race this year. Do not count him out. But of course, NASCAR has a very diverse schedule, many different ovals of different scales and shapes and sizes, and of course many road courses as well. So you gotta learn everything, different rules packages and more. So I'm glad they're giving Cindric some experience at a wide variety of tracks, but I am still looking forward to his first road course Cup race of the season. But look out for that 33 car on track this Sunday at Atlanta. I'll be watching. I hope he runs well. Yesterday, during the NASCAR Cup Series race at Phoenix, the Superstar Racing Experience released a clip, and as far as I know, this was the first clip we've seen of one of their race cars making laps at speed. I don't know who was driving this thing, but here's the short clip of one of their race cars testing. Sounds pretty gnarly. Again, those are Ilmor engines they're running. They generate roughly 700 horsepower according to reports, so not surprising to hear it sound like a NASCAR stock car or a late model or anything like that. I mean, Ilmor of course makes the motors that the Truck Series uses in all of their race cars. The timing of them releasing this clip is what I found the most interesting. They literally released this clip without any sort of fanfare or anything in the middle of the Cup Series race. Like halfway through the race, they just dropped it on social media, and I'm like, you know people are watching a Cup race right now. Like, I know the Superstar Racing Experience is trying to be its own thing, but let's not kid ourselves. Most of their audience are going to be existing NASCAR fans that tune in to watch. So I thought it was interesting for them to release this very interesting clip. Many of us have been, clamoring, waiting for a view of the car actually at speed, driving, what it sounds like. For them to release this clip, this highly anticipated clip, in the middle of a Cup Series race on a Sunday afternoon, I don't know. Does the Superstar Racing Experience actually think they're going to compete with NASCAR? Like, they're obviously not going to compete with the Cup Series this summer. All their races are on Saturday nights. Cup is usually on Sunday afternoon. I don't think they overlap at all this year. I don't know, maybe it was innocuous, but it seemed a bit weird to me that the SRX would choose to release this clip in direct competition with a NASCAR Cup Series event. I'm sure it didn't get quite the traction it might have got if they'd released it on a Monday or a Tuesday, as they would usually do, but hey, I'm not on their marketing team, but there you have it. There's what the SRX car will look and sound like on the racetrack. If you missed it last week, I did a whole video where we talked about the look of the SRX car, talked about some of the finer details that were visible when they revealed their car for the first time last week, so go check that episode out if you missed it and you want to hear more about the Superstar Racing Experience. Now, I want to focus this episode on Bubba Wallace. I know some of you are saying, we're talking about Bubba Wallace again. The dude doesn't even have a top 10 finish this year. Like, can we talk about someone else, please? Hey, honestly, I'm right there with you. We have talked a lot about Bubba Wallace. He's been in many headlines the past few months, but I can't help it. Powerful, influential people are taking notice of Bubba Wallace and are trying to team up with him and work with him. So that's what we're talking about here today. Last week, Friday, Shaquille O'Neal, NBA superstar, Hall of Famer, four-time champion, I think. SHAQ, a pop culture icon, tweeted at Bubba Wallace, seemingly out of the blue. Here's what he said. "Bubba, what's happening? Reach out. I got a project for us." Well, okay. Well, Bubba Wallace did take notice. He tweeted back, eyes emoji, eyes emoji, eyes emoji. "What's good? I'm all ears." as far as I can tell, that's all we've seen so far regarding this partnership. We'll see what it evolves or turns into. What could this project SHAQ is teasing actually be? Could it be just a podcast appearance? Maybe SHAQ wants him on a show he's doing. He's always doing something. Maybe it's a movie deal, a cameo in a movie. You never know. Maybe SHAQ just wants Bubba to appear in like a general ad for the general insurance or whatever, Icy Hot, Gold, whatever else SHAQ plugs these days. Papa John's, I think. Goodness me, get this man a fire suit. He would fill it up with all these different endorsements he's got. But interesting to see SHAQ, who is still very much a public-facing cultural icon. He's, the host of Inside the NBA on TNT. Interesting to see that guy reaching out to NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace, the second NBA star to now get involved with Bubba Wallace after Michael Jordan, of course. This certainly is not the first time SHAQ has taken notice of NASCAR. He's been at the track before, I believe. I saw this quote from a USA Today article in 2013. In that article, SHAQ said, "I had a chance to spend a couple weeks with Dale Earnhardt Jr. when I was doing SHAQ Versus. I raced him. Whoever said these guys aren't athletes are out of their minds. That was the toughest 3 hours I've ever had in my life. I was fitted for a car, me and Dale raced 50 laps, and I slept for 2 days after that. I really did." So Shaquille O'Neal, it's pretty clear, has a level of respect for NASCAR drivers and for stock car racing. So pretty cool to see him reaching out to Bubba Wallace. We'll see what this project turns into, how SHAQ may get involved. We might see Diesel at a racetrack again sometime too. That's a good nickname. His nickname was Diesel. That's like a racing car. That's like fuel. That's racing themed, sort of. He'll fit right in. Anyway, we might see SHAQ at a racetrack again sometime soon, but at the very least, it'll be cool if he and Bubba Wallace partner to do something special. Now, I do want to speak about Bubba Wallace and his recent boost in popularity. I say recent, really over the last year now. I do want to talk about this more broadly, because while on the surface it's a huge positive for him right now, this newfound popularity, all the endorsements that have come with it, the opportunities, he's driving for TRD now, teamed up with Michael Jordan, all that's really good, but I do worry there are some negatives that could come along with it that I want to talk about in a moment. But all I know is Bubba Wallace has been in the Cup Series for more than 3 years, and really ever since he got into NASCAR and trucks, Xfinity. Many of us often wondered aloud, how is it that one of the few full-time black race car drivers in NASCAR, how is this man not able to attract mainstream support, mainstream corporate support in the form of sponsorship? I mean, Bubba Wallace, he was winning races, winning Truck Series races. How was he unable to gain that support for so many years? Well, now, in the last year, Bubba Wallace has finally garnered that mainstream support. He's finally getting all the attention that I think many of us were a bit surprised he wasn't getting sooner. It goes without saying, but obviously a huge part of NASCAR is how are you able to market yourself? What audience do you speak to? What audiences can you attract? And what brands will want to work with you to fund your career? That goes without saying, but I feel like I have to say it. But I just remember 2019 when there were real concerns that Richard Petty Motorsports may shut down due to lack of funding. It just shocked me that there weren't more sponsors willing to get behind Bubba Wallace. Again, the sport's, at the time, only full-time black driver who drove for Richard Petty, the iconic NASCAR 43, who had won truck races in the past. How is that guy not attracting major sponsors? Obviously, the tune has changed quite a bit, and now he has tons of endorsements from McDonald's, Michael Jordan, DoorDash, Toyota, Dr. Pepper, Columbia. He's been on CNN, The Today Show. He's done stuff with Kevin Hart. He's got SHAQ's attention now. He was on the I Am Athlete podcast a couple weeks ago, which I do want to talk about because his recent appearance on that show, they have almost 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. The episode with Bubba Wallace has about 500,000 views at this point. It's a popular show. It was a fun one to watch/listen to. I listened to most of the episode, and it was kind of goofy, kind of funny, but also very serious and very informative at times as well. So I encourage you to go check it out. But the title of this episode highlights my concerns about Bubba Wallace and his NASCAR career. And I don't want this to sound like I'm hating on Bubba Wallace. Those of you who've watched my show for a year or so now, I'd say I've been very fair, if not more optimistic than most about Bubba Wallace and his future racing career, but I just want to express my genuine concerns with his career and how it may or may not evolve. But the title of this I Am Athlete podcast episode with Bubba Wallace was Bubba Wallace, the Tiger Woods of NASCAR. And see, while this was not the focus of the episode, the focus was just a genuine conversation with Bubba. They asked him about working with Michael Jordan, driving for a more competitive team this year. They asked him about all the stuff during last year's season. The episode was great. Again, go listen to it. But titles like this one are, in my opinion, doing a disservice to Bubba Wallace, because aside from maybe the representation side of things, Bubba Wallace being the one and only full-time black driver in the Cup Series, aside from that perhaps, Tiger Woods and Bubba Wallace have absolutely nothing in common. And comparing Bubba Wallace, a guy who has yet to win a NASCAR Cup Series race, to Tiger Woods, arguably the greatest golfer in world history, while that's a great compliment to Bubba Wallace, I believe that could be doing a disservice to him in the long run. It's building up unrealistic expectations for new fans and people who are tuning in to support Bubba Wallace for the first time. Bubba Wallace and 23XI Racing need time to just breathe. Yes, he is now driving for the most competitive team he has raced for in his Cup Series career, but it is a brand new team. Everyone Bubba is working with this year, he is brand new too, and they are brand new to him. There's no practice or qualifying time at the racetrack, so that's a curveball. And we've seen some of that carry over already this season. They've had mechanical issues in a few races, and they ran well this weekend at Phoenix yesterday, but as I talked about in my race review video, a poor pit decision by their crew chief ultimately set that team up for failure and cost them what would probably have been their first top 10 of the season. All off season and really the first few weeks of this season, Bubba Wallace has been the leading NASCAR story. But if you're a new fan who tuned in any of these last few weeks because you heard about this Bubba Wallace guy, you saw him on one of these shows, you saw I Am Athlete call him the Tiger Woods of NASCAR, you had that impression in your head. If you've tuned in to watch any of these races for the first time the last few weeks, you would not be impressed with what you've seen from Bubba Wallace. You might feel like you were lied to or misinformed or deceived. If these new fans, who again are more than likely only tuning into NASCAR because they heard about Bubba Wallace, if they're tuning in and not seeing results from Bubba Wallace right out the gate, they're gonna tune out. New potential fans are not gonna tune in if their driver is consistently running in the back. So this is what I'm getting at when I talk about my genuine concerns for his career. I worry that Bubba Wallace is just gonna flame out of the sport quickly if the results don't start to turn around soon. We know Bubba Wallace is a passionate, emotional guy, and the pressure continues to mount week in, week out as the finishes continue to not be up to their expected standards. And all this added media coverage, while it's great in the moment and it's fantastic that Bubba Wallace is reaching new audiences that previously may not have considered watching NASCAR or even tuning in, it's important that we preach patience. Yes, 23XI Racing is expected to be a contender at some point this season or in the very near future, but they're not quite there yet. There are going to be growing pains with a new team, and new fans tuning into NASCAR for the first time are not going to understand that, especially not when they're seeing titles and headlines like Bubba Wallace is the Tiger Woods of NASCAR. And some of y'all might say, oh, even if he struggles this year with all these endorsements, with Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin believing him and Toyota believing in him, like, he'll have plenty of time to figure it out. It's okay if they struggle this year. Next year, the year after, he'll have time to figure it out. You may be right. You may be right, but I will just remind people that not all that long ago, Danica Patrick was the biggest thing coming to NASCAR. But after just 5 full-time seasons in the Cup Series, 5 years, even Danica Patrick ran out of funding, ran out of support, and disappeared from NASCAR without much of a trace. Even Danica Patrick, who was as big or probably even bigger than Bubba Wallace is right now at the time, even she ran out of funding after, I mean, you think about it, she made her Xfinity debut in what, 2010? So less than about 8 years? 8 years was about all she lasted in NASCAR before even Danica Patrick's funding and goodwill and hype dwindled away. Bubba Wallace, I believe, is a better NASCAR stock car driver than Danica Patrick, and he is in a competitive car, so I'm not saying he's going to go that route, but I just remember the hype behind Danica and the fact that she never lived up to it is why so many fans came to resent her. Titles like Bubba Wallace is the Tiger Woods of NASCAR is going to lead to some resentment from fans if he does not begin getting great results very, very quickly. So titles like that, while in the moment, it's a very positive assessment of Bubba Wallace. Wow, comparing him to Tiger Woods, that's gotta make Bubba Wallace feel pretty good. Existing NASCAR fans are smarter than that. They know that 23XI Racing is a new team. They know Bubba is an unproven driver. They know he's not, statistically speaking, anywhere close to what Tiger Woods was for golf. You know, Tiger Woods was great for golf because, 1, he was black and there were not many top black golfers at the time, but 2, he was also great. Arguably the greatest ever. That's why Tiger Woods was so huge for golf and transcended golf and made golf cool for many, many years. I mean, golf was can't miss. Tiger Woods was playing, you are tuning in. That was a nationwide event when Tiger Woods was near the front late in a tournament. Again, as far as the representation argument is concerned, yeah, there are similarities between Bubba Wallace and Tiger Woods, but Bubba has a lot more work to do on the racetrack before we can expect him to have any sort of impact on NASCAR the way Tiger Woods had an incredible impact on golf. That's all I'm trying to say. Again, I'm not trying to bash Bubba Wallace. I'm expressing genuine concerns. I understand that when you're working with a guy and you're marketing, your goal is to make the thing you're marketing look as great as possible. So yeah, heck, you called Bubba Wallace the Tiger Woods of NASCAR. That makes our client look great. But existing NASCAR fans, I think, are smarter than that. They understand that 23XI Racing is a new team, that Bubba Wallace is a relatively unproven driver, and that this is going to be a work in progress. And new NASCAR fans, I think, are smart enough as well to see when they tune in week to week that, hey, Bubba Wallace isn't running like we'd expect the Tiger Woods of NASCAR to run like. He's running 15th, 20th. Maybe sometimes he starts sneaking to the top 10 very soon, consistently. I just think people who actually tune in and watch the races are gonna actually know what's going on and are not gonna be as enamored with this style of marketing as they may be right now. I want what's best for Bubba Wallace. I want him to be in NASCAR for a long, long time. I want him to have a ton of success, but I think it's important right now to preach patience around Bubba Wallace and all of 23XI Racing. It's a work in progress. It's a brand new team. All the reasons I just listed. Give it some time. I'm confident the results will begin to look much better fairly soon, but in the meantime, can we avoid some of these headlines like calling Bubba Wallace the Tiger Woods of NASCAR? Not even phrasing it like a question, like, is Bubba Wallace the Tiger Woods of NASCAR? No, they're declaring it on the spot. Oh yeah, he is. Not quite, guys, not quite. Anyway, I'm sure you all probably left a comment already, but I hope you heard what I had to say, and let me know what you think down below in the comment section. I appreciate you guys tuning into this episode. That's all I've got. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We talk NASCAR news almost every single day here at Out of the Groove. As always, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. I could not do this show without your tremendous support. Lots of exciting things in the works. Go check out the latest episodes from the Out of the Groove Podcast Network, Noah Talks NASCAR, NASCAR Weekly Podcast, A Lifetime in NASCAR, new episodes all down below. Go check those out. I will see you in the next episode of Out of the Groove. Stay safe out there. I'll see you next time.